Hello, I'm Dr. Tara Palmatier of shrinkformen.com. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's been a while, but I've been busy working with clients. Okay, the topic of this video is making money from being a victim is a red flag, which is from an article I published in January of this year on my website, shrinkformen.com. So let's just jump right in as soon as I figure out what browser I have. Yes, there we go. I did it. Okay. In the dating pool, making money from claiming to be a victim is a red flag. A great, big, big one. If a new potential partner or casual hookup recites a list of past victimization, proceed with caution. If you ignore this red flag, you could be the next soulmate cast in the role of villain on her social media when the love bombing stops and the devaluation stage begins. Everyone's a victim. Everyone's a narcissist. Everything's a red flag. It seems like everyone's a victim these days, which begs the question, if everyone's a victim, is anyone a victim? But I digress. Yes, of course, there are many people identifying themselves as victims who have legitimately been harmed, meaning provable, documented facts, not my truth. Incidentally, using the term my truth is also a great, big, big dating red flag. My truth is usually a cluster bomb of cluster B lies, exaggerations, gaslighting, distortions, projection, and confabulation. It's the self-serving spin narcissists, borderlines, histrionics, and other pathological liars put on their false victim narratives, revisionist histories, and abuses they perpetrate to portray themselves as brave, unflinchingly honest, and enlightened. In reality, my truth is just bullshit with better branding. So is ethical non-monogamy for cheating. Again, I digress. While I'm at it, using the term red flag is so overdone now, it's probably also a red flag or warning sign. Rather like using the term narcissist. Once the multi-level marketer slash influencer, self-proclaimed narcissistic or narcissism experts on YouTube learned the term, it was the beginning of the end. Hopefully I will have no more mouth malfunctions until I at least shut off the camera today. There will be more. Okay. Professional victims may not actually be victims. In fact, many of them are the aggressor in their relationships. All right. Professional victim is an identity, and it correlates to the cluster B and cluster personalities, cluster B and cluster C personality disorders. Research confirms that victimhood is a stable, and this is a direct quote from an article by Gabe, Lifshitz, Hamiri, and Nadler, published in 2020, the University of Tel Aviv. So it's research from the University of Tel Aviv, excuse me. So direct quote, victimhood is a stable and meaningful personality tendency. Tendency for interpersonal victimhood, that is TIV, which we define as an ongoing feeling that the self is a victim, which is generalized across many kinds of relationships. People who have a higher tendency for interpersonal victimhood feel victimized more often, more intensely, and for longer duration in interpersonal relations than do those who have a lower such tendency. According to Gabe et al., professional victims, or people with TIV, tendency for interpersonal victimhood, exhibit the following victim mindsets. 1, they routinely seek recognition of their victim status. Sound like anyone you know? 2, they position their alleged victim status as elite moral superiority. Think of all the annoying virtue signalers online. Yeah. 3, has a lack of empathy and interest in other people's pain and suffering, especially people the professional victim has harmed. And 4, obsesses about their past alleged victimization. And I say alleged for the following reason. Gabay et al. Also found that no actual victimization need occur for a victim mindset to develop. In other words, many people claiming to be victims have not actually been victimized. I suspect this is particularly true of self-proclaimed victims who use their victim status for monetary and social gain or as a weapon to harm others. And I see this all the time in my practice, especially with men who are going into high conflict divorces and custody litigation with women who are in fact the aggressors, yet portray themselves as the victims. So now let's explore legitimate victims versus professional victims. Unlike professional victims, there are people who've experienced trauma whose identities and or careers do not center around being victims. Psychologically well-adjusted people don't want to be seen as victims. Now, that's not to say something bad or traumatic didn't happen to them. Something bad did happen to them. However, they do not define themselves by the bad relationship, bad divorce, assault, fraud, or some other act of malfeasance in perpetuity, i.e., forever and ever. These individuals seek support, heal, get on with their lives, and are capable of having healthy, functional relationships in which they don't consistently devolve into victim status, regardless of reality. Furthermore, professional victims are often the actual aggressors in relationships. So when a new acquaintance, date, coworker, etc., launches into tales of victimhood and grievance upon first contact, exercise caution. Switch off your empathy and ask yourself why a stranger is telling you such intimate and perhaps false details about their history. Why are they seeking sympathy on a first date? Is pity sexy, fun, or interesting? Does it seem well-adjusted? Does portraying themselves as a victim make them appear more successful? Of course not. Best case scenario, this individual is freshly out of a bad relationship and vulnerable. In other words, not yet relationship ready. In the worst case scenario, this person is sizing you up to be their next NPD, HPD, BPD Happy Meal. I recommend you take a hard pass, as in, no thank you. Why is making money from claiming to be a victim an even bigger red flag than someone just claiming to be a victim with no evident monetization? Because in addition to social currency via attention seeking and sympathy, they've got a bottom line, meaning they literally profit from being a victim. Thus, if they stop presenting themselves as a victim, their income stops too. Likely predators include the following. So give people who do the following a very wide berth and don't share anything too personal with them. I.e., you want to keep people like this at a very superficial arm's length. That's if you have to have contact with them because you work with them or something, or they're your neighbor. So 1, people who make money from victimhood claims, especially absent any criminal complaints or convictions of the alleged perpetration. 2, people who make money in the form of child support from being a victim. In other words, she made false abuse allegations to get more custody in order to get more child support. 3, people who brag about how many restraining orders they obtained against former partners, as in plural, partners, multiple restraining orders. In this case, the restraining orders are a kind of trophy or trophies of the many exes they've abused. It kind of reminds me of the old Showtime series Dexter. He collected blood slides of his murder victims. 4, anyone who is an influencer and seeks followers, attention, and money from being a victim. 5, a person who is an influencer and seeks followers, attention, and money from being a victim, who also posts lingerie and or naked selfies and or artistic nude model photos. Because nothing says I'm a sexual assault survivor like posting naked selfies. Jesus, H bleepity bleep. Okay, 6, people who trash their alleged narcissistic ex or exes online while taking spousal and or child support money while refusing to get an actual job. Extra hazard points if she's continuously back in family court trying to take custody away from her ex over objectively stupid stuff. For example, not replying to her high conflict divorce name calling, demands to ignore or violate the custody order at will, and other petty dramas. 7, also stay away from someone who still identifies as a victim and hates their ex with the same venomous intensity years after the relationship has ended. Non-personality disordered people are able to eventually let go of their hurt, anger, and resentment and move on. People who are in the cluster B personality disorder bucket do not. 20 years, 30 years later, the wounds are still fresh. That's nuts. Stay away from them. 8, finally, stay away from anyone who uses GoFundMe to raise money to supplement spousal and child support and or to pay for their legal fees, especially if she shares kid photos and claims their fathers are deadbeats to money grub. And this is especially true if she uses GoFundMe in lieu of, say, oh, I don't know, getting an actual job. Okay, you can take these warnings or not, but you have been warned. If you choose to ignore these warning signs, odds are you will become the professional victim's next victim. Instead, I encourage you to gain some awareness about your hero, savior, and enabler tendencies, and then make healthier relationship choices. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Again, I am Dr. Tara Palmatier of shrinkformen.com. If you have questions or would like to work with me, you can reach me at shrinkformen@gmail.com. That's the number 4, shrinkformen.com@gmail.com. Also, I'm thinking of transitioning over to Proton Mail, so you can also contact me there. And that email address is, you guessed it, shrinkformen@protonmail.com. Have a great day and a great evening. And again, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Bye.